Hi, everyone. Good evening, beauties. Today I have another treat for you. Part three. Hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we have part three of Idika coming to share his wealth of knowledge. Today we're going to be talking about grounding, shadow work, how to recognize if you have a curse that's been put on you, potentially how to remove it, and so much more. So guys, put on your kettles, grab your liquor, whatever you do, or your glass of water, and sit back and enjoy. All right? So, Adika, let me invite you all the way in. And welcome to the new viewers, if you haven't been on this page before. My name is Silva. Welcome, welcome. Adika, let me see if I can come and find you. For the viewers, notifications, and even guests, if you find it difficult to log on, sometimes it's just as simple as your app that needs updating, your Instagram app. So if you're having issues viewing or you need to update your IG app. Hello. Hello, Divine One. How are you?
Very well.
Good. Good to hear it. Well, guys, this is the part three of sharing enlightenment and knowledge from Sharman Idika, and he's so much more. Yeah. So, Shar, how have you spent the day today? Let me ask you how you are before I get into the layers. You've been here for 3 times now, so I'm not going to get into the warm up zone. You've done it before, but tell us how you spent your day today, at least, before coming on this live.
Like I said, if I'm not meditating or handling some spiritual work, I will be on my own.
Okay. So,
I
if you're
love
not,
music. I played a lot of music
what
today.
kind of music you like?
I love reggae. I love R&B. I'm versatile. I love
So, you
rap.
didn't even say Afrobeats. That would be typical, even though that's one of my favorites.
I love Afro beats, but the lyrics gets me off.
Ah.
It
So
doesn't
it's
connect.
not conscious enough for your spirit these days.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Okay, so it has to be on a higher vibration. So you don't listen to any music that's even fun or sexy. It has to be all higher vibration music, yeah?
Yeah, my music is mostly about the sound. It helps me
Vibrational.
meditate. Yes, and
Nice. Okay, so you're constantly
okay
nurturing your
with it.
spirit.
Yes.
Okay, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that with us. Guys, let's
Thank
get
you.
into some layers. We're going to have some interesting layers today. Okay, I'm going to just tell you some of our conversations that I may have missed earlier. How to elevate spiritually, how to assist with the healing of anxiety and depression, the law of attraction, maybe not conventionally, but maybe how, you may suggest your law of attraction, and healing shadow work, removing stagnant energy within the home and within self, and so much more. Yeah. But, I would like to start by asking you the obvious. So you classify yourself as a Sherman who practices shamanism. Am I correct? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Tell us what that even means. What does
You
it
mean
mean to be a
what?
Sherman?
Okay. In my language, a shaman is called dibia, and a lot of people these days doesn't even know what that means because
Mm-hmm.
dibia, what it truly means is dimbia, which means the husband of the people. You know, is like he comes from a world of our ancestors to bring healing upon the people. So we called it the Mbia, which means a husband of the people. So
Okay.
as a shaman, you are for the people.
Okay. And
So
what is the practitioner work of a Sherman? What do you get up to? Let us know. For those who may not understand or
um
even heard of the term.
Shamanism is about herbs, alignment with the universe, aligning with all the elements, not just one element. In shamanism, you get to understand how to bring the four elements together and use them.
Okay, so I'm just greeting somebody. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Guys,
Yeah.
I'm hearing an echo on myself on my side. Can somebody in the comments, the viewers, can you let me know if you can hear me echoing? Because sometimes it's just on my side or the guest side. Am I echoing? Is everything clear on my side visually and sound? Please give me the thumbs up or a heart or some notification so I know before I proceed.
From my side, I hear you very well.
You don't hear no echo. I can hear every word I'm saying is echoing. It's very irritating for me, but I want to make sure that as these visuals get, circulated on every platform, I want to make sure that visualization is very clear and the sound is good.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you guys. So everything's good? All right, sweet. Hopefully it's just on my side and I can rock with it. All right. Okay, so we have layers of things that we want to talk about today. I'm going to allow you to choose unless you'd like me to choose. Where would you like to start? What
No,
subject?
go ahead.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
let me feel my vibration. All right. I would like to go with how to shift and remove stagnant energy within self and our homes. Yeah. And
Okay,
I
you
chose
mean
that. I
how
chose that, you know.
okay,
Mhm.
how to become one with self and also your environment.
Okay, break that down for us. And before you go into it, let me share why I wanted to share that. And I'm hoping maybe someone can relate to this. Sometimes you may have a job you're happy in, or even a relationship, or not. Or you may have feel like you're well, you're exercising, you're eating good. But you may find that sometimes, no matter how much you want to either manifest, or how much time you go on job interviews, or how much time, whatever it is, you're circulating the same non-growing, non-prolific or fruitful energy. And then you may think, okay, my home, just put some new wallpaper, paint the walls. But sometimes it's not even shifting the visualization. It's an energy that needs to clear. We can burn the bush, we can burn the sage, we can, do spiritual baths, but sometimes it's still not shifting. And so after speaking within myself and even others who experience this sometimes in life, I thought that would be a great question to put to you, how to recognize when you've got stagnant energy in self. And I don't mean career, or your home, and how we can work on that.
Oh, okay. If you come to this setting now, a lot of people don't really understand when we talk about spirituality because
Mm-hmm.
there's this saying
Break it
in my
down.
language. There's this saying in my language that you can know a person from his environment. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when someone look at your environment where you live, it can easily express your inner self.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So if you're kind of having a lot of stagnancy, maybe very difficult to manifest, you start by your environment. Move
Mm-hmm.
things around, change
Exactly
the
that.
places of
Mm-hmm.
things. Things haven't, it doesn't have to be in a particular place. Even if it's something, pick it up, change the position. It can also help change your mentalism because everything is actually of the mind. And again, what you wake up to is very, very
Mm-hmm.
important because when you wake up and you're rising from the bed, your thoughts, the first thing you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about is important because if you're rising from the bed and you're rising with a lot of chaos,
Mm-hmm.
that is the first problem. So the
Mm-hmm.
whole day is going to be chaos. So it's all mental. You have to use the mind to control your physical output. If you wake
Mm-hmm.
up in the morning and your mind triggers you that today is going to be a bad day, it's actually going to be a bad day if you don't start from that moment to change that mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, that for me is quite a logical response. I don't know if it's a spiritual response, but it's a very logical response. So a lot of us will say, even to a child, it's a bit like saying if a child falls over, you might make a big fuss. But then because you make a big fuss, the child's crying more. Yeah, you
Yes.
make little fuss. Oh,
Yes.
it's okay, you're strong. The child might think, oh, okay, because it's a state of mind. Yeah. So that
Yes.
I think is quite
Yes.
logical. So maybe, but I think I'm trying to get to the deeper layers because like whether you are,
Like
regardless of your race,
like
your
like let
gender,
let,
hmm
let me break it down from what you're saying. Like
let's
a
get deeper
child
into those spiritual levels.
yes, a child who's never been burnt by fire before, when that child sees fire, they will appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Now, what moves them to touch the fire is the beauty.
Ah, the
And
curiosity.
then yes, and then when they
Mm-hmm.
touch the fire, it burns them.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Okay.
yes, they start to understand that this burns. But if you try to hold that child, the child would think that you're trying to take them away from something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So they can even get angry for that. So
Mm.
that is why you see it's all about the mind. It's all
It
about the mind. I
is.
will
It
get
is.
deeper,
Mm-hmm.
but there is something I really want people to understand because if if you're not aligning these things within, you can never manifest anything
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because everything comes from within us. It's
Yeah.
not on the outside, but a lot of people focus on the outside rather than the inside.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I
So
mean,
it's all about work. Yes,
no,
it's all
go
about
ahead.
wake
Go
up in
ahead.
the morning, wake up in the morning, go out chasing, come back in the evening, sleep. In the morning, go out
Mm.
chasing. So they live with schedule.
Mm.
So some people live all their life chasing,
Mm-hmm.
while they
Mm-hmm.
would have been able to sit down, chase within. So what you chase, you will never become. So you just need to sit down, become everything you're chasing.
Mm-hmm. Interesting you should say that. Right now, guys, this is media, and we are flooded with information, whether whether it helps, whether it's misleading, whether it's truth. And, everywhere we turn, we're hearing manifestation. Years ago, it was the law of attraction and those books and that movement, and we know
Yes.
we see the benefit of it. Yeah. However, I always leave room for reality. Not everyone's reality is the same. I must have a disclaimer. Okay. There's a video that I'm going to actually probably share after this live. And the man is saying everyone's talking about manifestation without doing any work. Yeah, without doing any work, you're
Yes.
going to say, I manifest, I manifest. And that may work for some people. But the reality is, sometimes you're speaking to people and they say, oh, this manifests. Let's be honest, Adika. If you close your eyes right now, meditate and say, I manifest to be a billionaire, and you open your eyes, will you be a billionaire?
That is not what brings
No, 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 no,
manifestation.
no. But remember, for some it is.
Mm.
And the thing is, this is why I always have disclaimers when I have these talks with different people, because
Yes.
you didn't create the word, I didn't create the word. So it'd be wrong for me or you to dictate what we think is. I'm big on dictation. I always mention that to you when I speak to you.
Mm.
Dictation. Yeah. So the one who invented this, they had their meaning of what manifestation it means. So to vibrate, to welcome that energy into your life, there's one thing that I never hear anyone speaking about. And then we also touch on the law of attraction now as well. Yeah. Just
Mm.
because I want it, it doesn't mean it's for me. That's the one thing that nobody talks about. Yeah. So even if someone's manifesting, they want to have a baby, they want to have a wife, they want to have this, the universe may be thinking, this is not what I've got in line for you. No matter how much times you manifest, go to a Sherman, pray, touch crystals, you may never get that baby or that husband or wife because it's not in your path line. And nobody talks about that. So there's a lot of misconception. People trying to teach
Yes.
you how to manifest about saying, be mindful. It may not be aligned to your vibrational path.
Mm.
True or not?
Yes, that
Nobody speaks
aspect
of that. And it's so important.
is very true, but
Mm-hmm.
the reason why most people don't manifest is because there is a secret behind it, which they are not
Mm-hmm.
telling people. You know,
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us then.
this is what is been hidden, because
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about spirituality, a lot of people talk about spirituality without even understanding the concept.
I agree.
At first, the reason why we were deceived is to remove us from understanding the aspect of spirituality, which is the true aspect of our existence.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that aspect is being missed and falsified over the years. So so many people talk about it, talk about manifestation and all that. They don't really understand it. That is why it's mentalism. Now,
So let me
why is
ask
it?
you a key question. Would you say that you, because obviously,
Mm,
when you talk very affirmed, and I appreciate that. Would you say
yes.
that you embody and you fully understand the secret of how to manifest, and therefore your life is exactly
Mhm.
how you want it to be?
My life is not exactly how I want it to
That's why
be
I asked you that.
because I understand that manifestation takes time. It takes process.
Yes,
You
it
know,
does. Mm-hmm.
it's just like when you buy a new bike and you don't even know how to ride. Now you're
Uh-huh.
taking classes. You get to fall sometimes. And then you get to pick up again, and from there, even when you are a professional, you
Mm-hmm.
fail sometimes, and then you pick up. You have injuries.
Mm.
So when we talk about spirituality as a whole and the secret of law of attraction, there is a reason why it's called law of attraction. We have to go back from where all these things started to correct everything.
Mm-hmm. So
Now
let's so
this
let
is it.
so, so let me go back a little bit before I go forward. Because why I touched on manifestation is because I'm still want to home in on the first part of the topic, that's focusing on that, which is removing stagnant energy from self and home. And again, I'm speaking of people that may say manifestation, meditation. And when I looked at multiple things I've seen, just generally, whether it's YouTube or people speaking about their life, they will talk about, as you mentioned, moving when they clean and they cleanse, they move everything behind the cooker, the wardrobe, the couch. They move things to try to, even they might even, I've heard someone say, which is a spiritual doctor, who says, even shaking your keys to change the spirit or vibration in your house, and or a bell or whatever people use, or even Buddhists may use, the bell. So because again, we can be filled with knowledge, but it's still nice to hear other people, culturally different people like yourself, who can say, actually try this, so actually people should think about this, whether they go to the river and have their own spiritual bath, or whether it's, I just want some cultural background from you, perhaps something different to what the Westerners, are all
Mm.
talking about. We want to hear from you.
What I want to talk about is actually deep and the key to
Let's
everything.
go. Mm-hmm.
Key to law of attraction, key
Mm-hmm.
to weight of negative energy, key to weight
Mm-hmm.
of cost projections,
Mm-hmm.
channeling, and all that. You can meditate, but if you're not meditating right, you will never get it. Why? Because in order for you to meditate, you need to have a knowledge of something, like I always say. Like now, if you remember in the Bible, they said, for God so loves the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son in order to save the world. And whosoever walks with him will never walk in light, will
Mm-hmm.
never walk in darkness, but light.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who is the God and who is the Son?
Mm. Do tell.
Yes. Now, the essence of that God is me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the essence of the Son is what makes us the God in the first place. That is the key of spirituality. Now, in order for you to be awoken in the spiritual aspect of yourself, you must make a choice. It's either you're using it in the physical aspect of creation, or you're using it in the spiritual aspect of awakening.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Which one do you use it in? We want to know.
So, you mean me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm working on it because I'm not right now. I'm not married,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in a relationship. It's a very
Mhm.
serious. So where I'm going is actually deep and
Okay.
deeper,
Hmm.
because
Enlighten us.
this
We're
is
all
some
here for it. Let's
yes,
go.
this is
Hmm.
something they are not telling anybody, and it
Hmm.
is the secret of everything we have been complaining about.
Hmm.
Now, as a human being, we are also the son. That is why in the first place it was called the Son of God. Why is it the
Hmm.
Son of God? Now, this is why it's the Son of God. There is a secretion within a man and a woman. And that secretion is what gives us the ability to create a human being,
Hmm.
which means when a man and a woman comes together, they give birth to children,
Hmm.
which means a woman have to balance a man in order for them to create life. Now, this same life can be created within. That is the original aspect of the African spirituality, which talks about the Osa and Oset, then Heru, which is the original man and woman. This original man and woman come from within. If you come to Igbo tradition, they call it Chi and Eke. Now, within
Hmm.
the stomach, there is something in Igbo we call Eke. And that Eke is called the solar plexus. This
Hmm.
is the original Bethlehem,
Hmm.
like they talk about in the scripture. Yes, because that is where this secretion is created. If you're a man or you're a woman, so you have to make a choice. That is why the original God gave His only begotten Son. Why? Because He has to make a decision to use this Son to create or to save the world by enlightening themselves. That is
Hmm.
why if you look at the people who came to Africa in the first place to invade us, they are more civilized, if you call it civilization, or more materialistic. So
Hmm.
most of those things they created comes from the knowledge of self. That is why the way they govern their region is different from the way Africa is governed. Why? Because they have an enlightenment that is different from us. We
Hmm.
don't even have it. Why? Because even what we call our spirituality is being falsified. It's no longer original.
That's right.
So
Hmm.
this secretion now comes from the feminine aspect of us that creates. So what we call Eke in Igbo means creation, which means Eke can also be identified as a feminine.
Hmm.
So this particular area of the stomach is what produces this secretion a man and a woman can use to copulate to create a human being that breathes as
Okay.
the original physical creator.
Hmm.
So man as the originator and woman as the creator.
Hmm.
Okay, this secretion have to be allowed to go through the spinal cord into the head. So originally they told us to meditate. If you have to meditate, you have to do what? You have to have the knowledge of something you're meditating for. So not just sit down and meditate. You can just calm your brain, calm your nerves and all that, cool your energy
The stillness,
after some
stillness,
time.
stillness. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
After some times, you go back to your negative side
Hmm.
because actually you're not awakening.
Hmm.
So you're just cooling off the brain, relaxing and all that. That is what you're doing, and you call it meditation. It's not. So
Hmm.
you go to the Bible, we were told to be watchful. What are we being watchful of? The Son of Man. Why do we have to be watchful of the Son of Man? Because he sneaks up at night like a thief.
Like a thief.
Why?
Yeah, you
Because
said this in the last
yes,
slide. Hmm.
yes, because this is a hidden knowledge nobody knows.
Hmm.
So the masculine aspect is the side of the brain that receives this secretion and titrates it into another oil called the bread of life.
So just let me stop you there for a moment. I'm loving all you're saying, but I'm trying to make a connection with that and stagnant energy in life and home. But I know you're gonna I'm only because I'm very focused on each topic at a time, so we don't go all over the
Yes.
place. Yeah. So
No,
can
I've not moved. Don't
yeah,
worry.
well,
Just
maybe for
ask your
me then.
question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Go
with
ahead.
all of this, just to clarify,
Mm.
you're also speaking about obviously centering self, meditation,
Yes.
obviously,
Yes.
and you know, just to paraphrase, like you were saying that just to be sitting there is not meditation, but obviously it's a form of, I guess, mindfulness and stillness. And for some, they do breath work with it and whatever you need.
Yes.
Yeah. So how can we
Mm.
hone that back in now and bring it back to how we can identify, if you can help me close that part of the conversation, when someone has stagnant energy in their life? And the reason why I say energy is because, as you know, someone can say, oh, I'm stagnant, I'm not going to the gym, I'm stagnant, I'm not looking for my job. But that's a different kind of stagnant. That's more career motivation, or, but you can
Mm.
be active, moving around, best career, best job, but still have stagnant energy, you know, in yourself, while you still feel that heaviness or that cloud or that fogginess, or your home just feels stagnant. For me, I always declutter. I get rid of. I'm always, you know, getting rid of things, and I'm not one that attaches to things like that so much. However, about maybe 3 weeks ago, specifically, I had nothing else to clear out, Adika, but my spirit was like, I just instantly was like, right, this needs to be moved and this needs to be got rid of. And I'm like, logically, I've done a clear out the other day, but it wasn't a clear
Mm.
out I needed. It was a shift in stagnant energy.
Yes.
But I didn't, you know, you don't always know, but I'm very loyal to my intuitivity. I'm very loyal to it, and it's
Yes.
very sharp and it's very awake. And I started, and you know something, it may not have been much. And my sister's on the live, she would tell you I was meant to get rid of something. And normally when I want to get rid of something, I don't take it back. But actually, I was supposed to just move it, not get rid of it. Move it into a totally different room and prepare a different space for my spirituality as well. So I felt as though my entire stagnant energy hadn't totally disappeared overnight, but there was a shift,
Mm.
and I felt like I vibrated higher than I was before within myself. I felt it.
Sometimes when we feel that kind of stagnancy, it might be a lot of food can make you like that.
I have a
Too
pretty
much.
cool diet, mainly plant-based, but you're right. You're right.
So
Next,
if you
low
kind of,
vibration food, snacks, and
yes,
yeah,
if you kind
processed.
of change the kind of food, or maybe you start eating more of plants, fruits and all that,
Mm-hmm.
can make you be very, very high frequential within your environment. Why? Because
Mm-hmm.
it still boils down to what I'm trying to explain,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm. And
because
fasting
that is
helps.
the most,
Fasting helps as well.
yeah, yes, it fastens your growth spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
because when you eat junk food, you no longer circulate right.
A hundred
Because
percent.
why?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, your system is using more of that time to digest,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes the brain dull. So another way to know is when you're always, as in you're not able to do anything in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do something, but you don't find the strength to go out and do them.
Mm-hmm.
You
So
find it
that be
very
also
difficult.
like when you're going for a low vibration.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
something is blocked.
It's an
Something
energy
is
drain.
blocked. Yes, something is
Mm-hmm.
blocked within that person, because people will call it being lazy, but within is not lazy. It's something is blocked within the person's energy. So
Mm-hmm.
it takes away their willpower.
Mm-hmm.
So they wouldn't have that desire to go out and do anything. So they just prefer to sit.
Okay, so let,
It's
let, let, let
also
me
energy.
let's strengthen that, sir. Let's strengthen that. Let's add weight on that point with this particular part of the conversation where we talk about not having the energy, maybe feeling drained. And I know that for some, not
Mm.
all guys, that can also be, as you know, Adika, spiritual issues, or someone that may have done something while you're feeling like you've got no energy, you're feeling that you can't move, you can't get up and do what you need to do. So, in your opinion, let's move to that thing. Because someone also said in the comments that they also fast. Um, Is there a time where you might feel like if someone's feeling like that, which is still, I guess, stagnant energy, but the stagnant energy may create a low vibration, as you said, lack of motivation. What, other than meditation, maybe looking at, or is that it, meditation or looking at what you're eating? Yeah. What else could you
Mm.
suggest that someone does? For others, it may be a spiritual bath. Others, it may be, seeking a diviner, or a reader. What would you recommend for people that may be going through that?
Dancing,
Sorry? I did
dancing.
dancing. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. That's okay. You surprised me with that one. Okay, I like it.
Yes, dancing have a way of removing all those toxic energy, especially if it's African drum.
Oh
See,
my God,
African
yes.
drum, African drums have some certain frequency. Like when you hear it, it's like it's speaking to your soul, and it gets to a certain stage. It sounds like you can hear clearly what the drum is saying. It's kind of
It's very spiritual.
elevate. Yes, it's very high vibrational.
Mm.
So it helps clear the mind, because when the mind is clouded, you become very, very low. So
That,
you can
that's
be
a
able,
thousand
you
percent.
become stuck. Yes, you become stuck. Another thing, you can find out when you are very, very low vibration is when you
Mm.
sleep, you see yourself falling when you're sleeping. You kind of
Ooh.
feel yourself falling under the bed.
Or you
Then you
like,
jerk up.
I've had that before, in the past, where you maybe you
Yes.
feel like you're, yeah, yeah. Does anyone can relate to that? Where you feel like maybe you're
Maybe.
sleeping, or maybe you're even jumping, and you actually jump in the dream or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. You kind of jump, and you wake up into your physical reality, because it feels like
Wow.
your bed is going down a deep hole.
Wow.
Yes, that is you falling out of the vibration, which is original and
Mm.
natural for you. So when you see something like that, you should be alarmed. That is your spirit telling you that it's falling out of you. Because
So interesting.
when the body contracts some kind of toxic energy, it pushes the spirit into something like a prison, into a dark hole.
Mm.
So that is you feeling it, that you're falling off, because whatever the conscious mind experiences, the subconscious will warn you before that thing happens. That is also the
Mhm.
optic. That is how the optic sends a message. So you
Mhm.
just see yourself fall inside the hole, as in it happens. You feel it very real. You know, if you
Have
have
you
ever
have
felt
you
that before.
experienced that yourself?
Yes, I've experienced it
Mm.
so many times, so many times.
Mm. But now you really understand yourself through the teachings and the knowledge that you've acquired. So before we go to the comments, guys, and on this particular part, I'm going to share something because you said about music, and it's so beautifully simple what you said, but so effective. I have a friend who's also from Nigeria. He's quite known Nigerian African drummer. You might know him. I'll talk to you later about who that is. Yeah,
Probably.
very, yeah, Mr. Adudu. He's very known African drummer. I plays for the Rules and everybody. And I bought a drum of him. He's a mate of mine. And interestingly enough, when I use the word vibrational, guys, you know what I mean, and that could, for some people, that can mean feeling this low and foggy, or lack of energy, or that can mean depression, or that can mean anything, a low vibration. And I remember feeling very lack of energy, maybe about 2 months ago, lack of energy, just feeling foggy, and I actually put on African beat. Actually, it just led me to put on that beat, and I did feel different.
Yes.
And
Is
even some of
very
the
powerful.
singing, we may not understand what they're saying, but it's got such a
Mm.
frequency that my spirit, I felt my skin change, my feelings, my goosebumps, and
Yes.
I don't know one word they're saying, but the frequency
If,
of the singing.
if you have an easy
Yeah.
chair,
Mm-hmm.
those easy chair, if you're not
Mm-hmm.
careful, you will see yourself trancing, moving into different
Ooh.
levels of frequency. frequency, different dimensions.
Elevate.
What they call
Wow.
dimension is also what they call different words. Visiting different words. You
Mhm.
begin to see yourself in different dimensions. So that kind of drums is natural. There's no
Mhm.
anything electron or
Mhm.
anything artificial. It's all
Mhm.
made from natural things. So when
Mhm.
they hit the drum, it sounds. It gives its original sound from the natural vibration of those things they were made from.
Yeah,
So
I
that
can
is why
relate that it works.
yes,
Mhm.
specifically is made from a particular type of skin from animal and a particular type of wood.
Mhm.
Specifically, they don't miss it in Africa. It must be a particular type of wood and it must be a particular type of animal. And
Mhm.
most of some of
Mhm.
those animal was antelope.
Mm.
Because yes, it got strong leather and it produces strong sounds. So when they hit it, it resonates with your waves within.
You know, what's interesting also is during the last, maybe last year, the year before, a few summers, there was quite a few. I don't know if any of you guys went to this. There's quite a few forest link ups. Yeah. So, forest, you got the African drummers. It's an event. You go to the forest in the evening or whatever, all afternoon to the night or to the moon comes out. And let me tell you, I'll tell you this, guys, all right? 3 years ago, I'd never been to one. I would have been like, no, you're crazy. Why are you going to the forest in the night? And my friend said, come. I said, I'm not going. There's crazy people, like, at nighttime. And,
Yes,
I went, I said a quick prayer and I went. Yeah. I went to the forest in the night to an event, which was already scaring me. Adika, I had the best time of my life. Had I not gone, I would have missed out. Some mystical things did happen that I still can't explain, that we saw in the
yes,
forest. And I was
yes,
sober. I didn't drink anything. I didn't smoke anything.
yes. Because that
Okay.
that drum can sedate you. It can sedate
But
you.
this is before I even sat down with the drummers. It was banging as I was walking in.
Yes,
Okay.
it can
No word of a
sedate you.
lie, guys. Do you know I have never danced so many hours in my life, even going to a party, as I did in the forest. Don't even know what's crawling near me. I was just like enchanted. And to see the moon come and daylight come, and there was no weird
Yes.
stuff. No one was doing anything strange, just bush burning, and it was, it was like an ancestral link up. I had the best time of my life, and there was a campfire. They're cooking natural food on the campfire, and I
Yes.
said, this, if I could do this every weekend, I would be living life. Yeah.
Looking into campfire helps meditate.
Remember we spoke about candle meditation on the last live. Yeah, you guys
Yes.
have to watch that to catch up. But just to wrap that up, my mate who is the drummer, he said many people are doing drumming. They're just banging drums and saying ancestors, but they don't know the pattern of drum to hit for the ancestor.
Yes. Yes.
When I finish this live, I'm gonna send you his link. He knows what he's talking about. He said everyone is saying ancestor, bring ancestors. He said, do you know how to put them back?
The drums speaks.
It does.
They
But
speak,
the
but
Western
it
drummers,
only
they don't really know
speaks.
what they're doing.
No, it only speaks in the right hand. It speaks. People who have ears listen to it because
Mhm.
even then, when I remember when I was younger, when they play these drums, my dad would call me and tell me to listen. So
Mm.
I listen. I don't hear anything. Then he
Mhm.
would say, "Oh, yeah, listen again." I keep listening different seasons because it happens once in a year. So when that
Mhm.
time comes during the festival, he always call me at night to listen. So he taught me something that when these drums start, this is what they do. They start mentioning all the families within the village.
Mm. Is this the
Yes,
Nigerian way, yeah, or the traditional African? Okay.
traditional in Nigeria. I'm
Mm,
telling you,
nice.
if you go to Yoruba, the sound, the drums speak. He
I
speaks.
love it.
You
I've got a
you
drum.
don't
I've
need
got a
to.
drum.
Yes, you don't need to be a Yoruba person or Igbo person or a Gala person or Hausa person to hear them. It resonates with your
Mhm.
spirit. Immediately you start dancing to it, you see yourself perceiving the sounds, like it speaks to your spirit. You get to understand
Mhm.
what the lyrics is saying. They are not saying, but the drums is making sounds that resonates with the human understanding.
It's a
They,
vibration in
like
itself, isn't it?
yes, it's a vibration,
Mhm.
but not
I
just
love
a
it.
vibration. It's speaking to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
I need you to start playing more of African sound.
I'm gonna
You're
play
going
it
to
after
learn.
this live because it's making me
Yes,
even the thought of my experience in the forest with the drummers. It was just, guys, I can't even fact tell you the words of how what I experienced.
yes, you will start learning a lot of things because a lot of adage is hidden inside that drum because most of those drums are telling
Mm.
stories that are no longer told in Africa today.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes, yes, that is why they can pass the drum onto a people because I remember in the village there was a particular family that was holding the drum, and when the man was late, they have to move the drum to another family.
Mm-hmm.
You see how they
Mm.
respect it. Yes, they respect it very well, and there is a ritual that are done for the drum before any family can take over the drum,
I know that you're
which
right.
means
You're right because my
so
friend he's passed down to him from an elder,
yes, because
and he's
the
from Nigeria.
drum,
Yeah.
the drum who carries a story. If you talk to him, he will tell you the drum carries a
Mm.
story that is only secretive to the person who holds it.
Oh
So,
wow.
if you come to African setting of the drum, it might be about five or six of them, for example. Now, the six people who are playing it, the drum is directly ascended to them, which means each of the drum chooses them. It has to choose you.
Mm.
Yes. So
Wow.
now, when they start hitting this drum, they will first of all greet our ancestors, which is the bigger universe.
Mm-hmm.
And now they will start appreciating nature. That is how those drums are
Mm.
hit. They start appreciating nature. After appreciating nature, they start calling the names of the people who this drum have called, people who have hit this drum so well in the past.
That's
Maybe they are late
amazing.
now, or people
Mm-hmm.
who are now old who cannot hit the drum anymore. They start praising them. Now, they
Amazing.
call the names of the original people who originated from that particular village. So the drum is a story of the people. That is
And to
why
go
it's
to.
also called voodoo. So when you're dancing to the drum, you are performing the original voodoo because voodoo is expression of the
Mm.
inner self. Yes. So what
Adika, can I
happened
ask
to
you a quick
you is
question? Sorry, my
go
darling.
ahead.
Just want to ask you a quick question before we go to the comments. You mentioned voodoo there. Sorry to cut you, but here's the perfect time to ask you this. From your understanding, what is the difference between hoodoo and voodoo?
Okay, voodoo is actually when you bring the herbs, the
Hoodoo, you say,
things
or
that
voodoo? Voodoo or hoodoo? Right, the
hoodoo.
H. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Voodoo is when you bring in the herbs, you bring in the doll baby, the doll, you know, to impersonate the person you want to
So
affect
the voodoo
or
doll.
heal. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the hoodoo doll. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the hoodoo
So the
doll.
hoodoo doll, yeah.
Then yes, the practical aspect of it. That is the hoodoo.
Mm-hmm.
So the herbs have to come in, the candle, all those petty things and all that. You have to now bring the physical, mystic aspect of African spirituality,
And that's
which is what they
hoodoo.
call,
Yeah.
yes, that is hoodoo.
Okay.
Then
Now voodoo.
what they call voodoo comes from the expression of the innermost spirit. So voodoo, how do you activate voodoo? Is from dancing the African drums. So
Mm-hmm.
from dancing the African drums, you begin to express the spirit will start dancing because the drum is not meant for the physical body dance. That is why when you engage in it, no matter how you're sweating, no matter how you feel you're tired, you never can stop dancing.
It actually is very euphoric. You actually feel like you're more and more awake. You're tired physically, but you're more alive.
Yes,
You don't even know
yes.
how you're even
From
going. Yeah.
yes,
Natural.
yes, from getting tired, your max energy.
100%. 100%.
Yes, because the body is no longer there. It's the
Mm-hmm.
spirit dancing now. That is why when you go to the house, you feel like you've been beaten so hard.
Oh my God, yeah. It's very exciting energy though. Let's pause right there for a moment while I go to the comments because I know I've missed quite a few, but let's at least then we can, as we're going through each subject, I can keep up with what people want to ask you or what they want to share. So let's see. Hi to everyone and big up everybody who's passed through and is still on the live. Comments don't mess around with me now. Sometimes I'm not able to find my comments. Okay, where are we? Okay, it's a shout out to Faithy Lola as well as Sacred Butterfly and Marty. Mm-hmm. And hello from the USA, PH something. Let's see, where have you gone? Again, sometimes my comments, yeah. Sleep paralysis, you mentioned. Ah, actually, we can talk about that if we have time. That's a good one. Let's go to Fifi's comment. Let me go down a little bit. There's quite a comment. Stop running away from me. I'm trying to go. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing on this side. When I press it, it's disappeared, but I know it's there. So let me press. And if I
Mm.
press it too much, it will just cut the live. So I'm very delicate on. Let me go back. Hang on. Oh, here we go. I'm able to see it now. Let me go down. All right, here we go. Dominique says, I fast. Yep, fasting is very good for all different reasons. Dominique says, yes, dancing, moving energy. Absolutely. Just you could just be moving, just move your body, just move. People says, yes, the drums you feel, the vibrations, yeah, all the way to the soul. Maybe we should do a link up. I don't know if they got any this summer, but it was the most amazing experience I've had in my whole life.
But you know, yoga was gotten from dancing.
Maybe like Tai Chi as well then, and
Yes, you know, and
yeah,
African dancing is different. It has a method.
yeah,
That is why when the drum is beating, you have to follow the rhythm of the dance because it's not
absolutely.
like when you're dancing the Western
Mhm. Well, hello,
kind
I'm
of.
Caribbean, so I know how to move myself. I know how to move my body.
No, you are an African. You're an
Yes, but I'm
African.
also Caribbean, which means I'm Dominican, I'm African, Dominican, and Jamaican. I've got three mixes.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
pure an African. So
Mm-hmm.
when the
It's in,
drum
it's in, it's in
hits,
the
you
soul.
will
It's
you
in the
will
soul naturally.
understand. Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. And so Phoebe said that she has had that experience too, which is feeling like she's falling in dreams. And says it's interesting. Marty says, me too, had a dream where I wanted to fly. I've spoke about that in my last dream, this last
Mm.
live, about flying and then
But he
falling in.
wasn't. He
Yeah.
wasn't able to fly. He wasn't able to fly.
Yeah, so and I couldn't soar high. Oh, then Marty says it was a lucid dream, and I even said I'm in a low vibration. Lexi says, what does it mean when you had a dream that you can't move? Okay. As we're in the comments, you want to share that? Lexi's asking, what does it mean when you dream that are you dreaming that you can't move? Or are you really in a dream state, but you're awake and you can't move? Which one is it? Let's see.
Sleep,
So sleep
sleep
paralysis.
paralysis.
Okay. This new word that they've given us now, isn't it? As we're talking about that, do you want to touch very briefly on your rendition of, they call it sleep paralysis in the Western world. What is it still that for you? Or is there a different term that we can, what is it for you? Because, I have
Is
my
the
theory on that.
out body
Our body
is the
experience.
out
Yeah.
body is the out body experience because
Oh, okay.
when your mind is in a certain state, because
Hmm.
when we sleep we die. Normally we die every day and wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
So when we're sleeping, the mind have to be in some certain state before
Hmm.
sleep paralysis happens to you. It doesn't happen to you because you are about to sleep. You must have positioned yourself in a certain way. It happens especially to people who maybe sleeping face up.
Mm.
When you sleep and you're facing up and your mind is all over the place, and from there
Hmm.
you begin to steady the mind on one thing, before you know, sleep paralysis happens. This is
Hmm. Hmm.
something that should be happening to us all the time. This is a knowledge we have to practice and incorporate into us, because
Hmm.
you don't need to force yourself into it for it to happen. You need to
Okay.
learn to do it anytime you want. That is why it's called sleep paralysis, because it's out body experience. That is what we are missing, because we were told it's evil. So everybody gets scared when that thing happens.
Mm.
It's astral
Mhm.
projection.
That's next week's
So the
topic,
moment,
actually.
yes,
Hmm.
the moment the spirit start leaving
Hmm.
the body lose control, because the only thing that controls the body is the spirit. So when the spirit
Hmm.
is not inside the body is dead. So what
Hmm.
happened is when the spirit is about leaving the body starts losing that control, which is the ability to talk. Because when you try to talk out of this body, the
Hmm.
mouth will be sealed. Why? Because you are now one with everything. You no longer have a body. You are everything around. You are in the same vibration with the universe, even the outer world. So you are just a flame. So we tend to forget that there is no body anymore. We have left that body. So when we
Hmm.
try to struggle, the spirit regains consciousness that, okay, I've left the body. Let me go back, because it has to be your decision. So
Hmm.
the spirit falls back into the body. When it falls back into the body will regain consciousness. You know. So
Hmm.
that is why even sometimes you keep shouting and shouting and shouting, but there is something a lot of us don't notice. When we
Hmm.
shout, we actually shout, but we experience that since the body is not moving, the mouth is not moving, we feel
No,
nobody
nothing's
hears our
coming.
shout.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
we forget that we are actually shouting, because you can hear yourself shout, because it's the spirit talking now. So
Hmm.
when we shout, we feel, because the mouth is sealed, nobody is going to hear the shout. So we begin to struggle. We get scared, struggle. But normally, somebody like me, I go with it anytime. I don't struggle
Do
with
you
it. Why? Because
know,
I already.
guys, maybe on another live, I can go into
Mm,
my experiences. Um, but I'll touch on this. 3 years ago, I started to have bizarre experiences, and definitely within the spiritual realm. Um, Although I've always been gifted with certain things, sometimes you because we are so westernized. I'm so westernized. You know, you live more in fear, isn't it? You know.
mm,
Um,
yes.
and so 3 years ago, I started to have bizarre experiences, very scary experiences. And with the whole, separate from that, when I used to have the whole, which they call sleep paralysis, I think it's, again, something very different, but that's how the Western people describe it. Being so scared, I can literally panic. And then I remembered what someone told me when I was younger, and they said, you know, you can control things that's happening in your dreams. And I should say, no, you can't, but you can. Because now, when it's happened to me multiple times after, knowing that my natural self would be scared and panic and be anxious, I then started saying, calm down. In the midst of it, I say, calm down. You've been here before. You know what to do. It's going to be okay.
Yes. That's the
Yeah.
right move,
But
because
let me
you
tell
have
you,
to
because in
flow.
spiritual realm, I get scared, but I'm scared of myself. Once I become,
Yes.
once I learn to embody myself I mean, totally, entirely, the way I need to, I
Mm.
will not be scared of anything anymore. And I know this, but I'm a work in
Yes.
progress. I'm a work in progress.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that
Yes.
moment, I was feeling like, calm down. Because if you don't, I actually felt like if I didn't calm down and counsel myself and trust that, I think I would have just, some people die in their sleep, as you know. I
Yes.
don't think I would have made it because the way my heart is, you know,
Mm.
and I literally
Yes.
just had to say, you've done this before, and you need to learn to trust yourself now. Your spirit
Yes.
guide, your ancestors, and the Most High. You need to just, and you
Mm.
know, as I focused on my breath, I was talking to myself while I couldn't move.
Yes.
Yeah, while I couldn't
Immediately
move, couldn't scream.
you will walk into something you will perceive as a dream.
Let me tell
If you
you,
calm
and
yourself, yes.
in my mind, I said to myself, this can only happen so many times before I don't always believe, depending on the experience. It's been a while I haven't had it, maybe about a year. But now
Mm.
I kind of can work out the difference between really being asleep and knowing I've woken up in a different realm.
Yes. It's different. It's not the same.
No, I'm still get scared, but I'm so much more equipped.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like my
Because there
ancestors
is
are
a
saying,
different. Mm.
there's a difference, but I actually feel like over the
Yes.
last year and a half, that my actual spirit or ancestors saying, when are you going to stop being a
Mm.
chicken? You're scared, scared, scared. Stop being scared now. How much?
You know, you have to be in a different kind of mindset
I'm
to
getting there.
figure
I'm
that
getting
out.
there. In
Yes,
order for
because
me to
you see,
truly go on,
mm,
my bad, go on.
you see, people don't understand when they dream, and they don't
Hmm.
understand when they are into some kind of reality.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the difference is when
Mm.
you have a dream, you wake up with the memory of that dream. But when
Yes.
you have a conscious reality of another existence, you don't mostly wake up with the memory. Why? Because of the anxiety that comes with it, because it's too real. So
There's
when you
some that I
wake up,
remember, and it's very traumatic. And I know
mm,
that wasn't a dream.
yes.
But
So
sometimes the
it's
closer
more
you get
difficult.
to yourself, is sometimes you're going to have other entities that's going to mess with you.
Yes, yes. Because
Hmm.
it's very it's strong. The energy is strong and the information is too much. So waking up with it, you have to also have a certain consciousness to keep that memory. Because
Mm.
immediately you're rising from bed, you notice it leaving you. In fact, you can feel it that this is living.
Hmm.
It starts fading one by one, gradually. It starts fading, small, little
Hmm.
by little. It starts fading if you don't go and write them down.
Hmm.
Some
I
people,
don't
some
tend to
people.
write it down. I don't tend to write it
Mm,
down, but there is a difference. There is a difference. But let's bullet point on our next subject, so that at least we can get through. But this is so interesting, guys. If you're enjoying the conversation so far, can we have some love hearts? Can we have some interaction? Let me give you some love hearts for being present with us. Yeah. So before we're gonna go on to the next subject, at least so that we can cover a few. Because this man, I have to book him 5 hours at a time because he's got so much to share. So much knowledge to share. Yeah, Adika, where would you like to go next, or would you like me to choose the subject?
go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. So we've just kind of explored, energy, looking at how we have stagnant energy, how to possibly exercise that moving stuff, meditation, and all that good stuff. Yeah. Thanks for the love hearts. Yeah. And we've really explored, and you touched on, using music and African drumming to lift and shake that frequency and dance. So that's such great advice because it's so simple. It's not go buy this, go buy that. It's so simple. You can go on YouTube or something, or even a friend play drums if you know professionally. There's so much
Yes,
ways you can get African drumming.
you can you can get an MP, you know, get an
Right?
MP, form a group, get
Hmm.
some campfire, go into the bush, form a
Ah,
group, feel
that's
safe.
my
You
life.
could do,
The book is
yeah,
my life.
just something people can achieve within a group.
We're doing this summer. I think me and my sister should do this summer. There's so much things we can do this summer. But just to, you know what, guys, before I go on to the next subject, let me share this. Sometimes, or if often, maybe you can relate to this, Adika. When you're raised in a family where maybe each member is a practitioner, or maybe your grandma was the medicine woman or something, you don't grow up with all these westernized fears. It's you're used to
No,
the tradition. It's normal. If
no,
anything, I'm the
like,
weird one because it's weird. For me, my mom was quite spiritual, although she doesn't speak these things, but there's no one around me in my family who's like that. So my journey, always feeling and sensing, has just come from me. It's not,
yes,
there's no one around me like that.
yes,
So that's why I
because
know it's authentic, but on the other side, it's still overcoming the little elements of fear that still sits within me. There's a difference between fear, guys, and being conscious.
yes,
Yeah. So,
fear, fear is what limits the consciousness.
that's what I meant by when you're in the paralysis and then me, having that response. But okay, so let's go all the way back, which is really important because we can all talk about spirituality and vibration and heightening. But as you said last week, you said important thing is to talk about grounding and shadow work. So that you really hit on that last week. And I want to make sure I gave you the space to do this next part. So with all the wonderful things of spirituality that we can go back on after, take us all the way back to the basics. Now, the grounding, the
Okay,
shadow work, and that healing of self.
okay. For someone who wants to start the journey of spirituality, grounding is the first thing because
Mm-hmm.
grounding sometimes to people who doesn't understand spirituality, it looks stupid. It looks stupid. But to go back to it, if you remember, for some of us who grew up in the village in Africa, when we were little, we used to go out in the sand, we play in the sand, we even eat the sand. But a lot of
Wow.
people don't. Yes, a lot of people don't know that sand, not too much of it, but sand have the ability to kill parasites.
Sand.
Yeah. Yes.
Ooh. So
Sand
how do you
also
ingest
have
that?
the
Caution, everybody.
sand also.
Go on.
Yes, caution. That is why when you give birth to a child,
Mm-hmm.
it is not in your hands to teach them, but what you
Mm-hmm.
need to do is watch and learn because this is an ancient person coming back to life.
Mm-hmm.
We often tend to think that because we take care of children, they don't have their own consciousness. The kids you're carrying have a higher consciousness than you who gave
Absolutely.
birth to them. So
Absolutely.
the way they do their things is kind of ancient. Sometimes you see them when you wear them shoes, they remove them. They would like to
Mm-hmm.
go on barefoot. And if you notice very well, it doesn't happen all the time. They
Mm.
don't do it all the time. Yes. You wear them shoe, you see them, they will remove it, they will go on barefoot. You pursue them from eating sand, they go back and eat sand. And if you notice very well, they mostly eat the sand so much when they're having stomach problem, especially when they're having diarrhea.
I've never noticed. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But because in people who live in the Western world, everywhere is tired. It's hard to even see sand.
Yeah. Unless you're going to, the beach or whatever.
So that grounding is very, very important. If you need to ground yourself, go on barefoot because the earth contains some electrons which we need
Mm-hmm.
as a human being. And some of us who go to pedicure, manicure to remove the scraps, the rubber, the actual rubber, which is the natural footwear given to us by creation. So originally we have
Mm-hmm.
a footwear, but man's intelligent because man thinks we know too much. We invented rubber. What does rubber do? When you wear rubber and work on electricity, what happens? It doesn't electrocute you. Why? Because rubber prevents this electricity from happening naturally. So when you wear footwear, you're removing yourself from the natural grounding. That is why even
Mm.
the earth can also generate electricity. It's not only the sun. The earth, the sun also have the ability to give electricity. Why? Because it contains electric energy. So when you walk barefoot, it resonates with your soul because your feet is grounding with the earth. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because the earth have vibrations, they have consciousness because of the waves, frequency, and electron they possess. So in order to align back to that consciousness, we have to start acting like a child. That is why it is only when you start behaving like a child, you will step into the kingdom of God, because that kingdom of God is
Mm-hmm.
the higher consciousness. Is
Mm-hmm.
the higher consciousness. Sometimes it's not only because right now, if you go to the beach, it's more safer to go to the beach and roll on the sand. No, don't do it only on the sand, on the beach. Get somewhere in your backyard, load some sand there. Sometimes remove your clothes, roll on the sand like a kid.
Mm-hmm. Do you, I mean, I've
That
never
is
heard of
grounding.
anyone speak of sand. That's a new, and what about you guys? I mean, and we know that we always hear about, especially having your feet in the grass, or maybe someone will talk about, some of these spiritual doctors have spoken about planting their hands in the actual soil. And right, so they really literally put your hand in the soil or put your feet on concrete. So you would suggest, as well as that, sand is a good method.
They have sand meditation that you have to bury yourself up
Oh.
to the neck.
I never heard of sand meditation. Wow. You
You've
see
never
people
they
you see
have it.
people doing that as fun on the beach, but I
Yes,
never knew it was actually a
yes,
thing.
you have.
Wow.
Yes, you have to bury yourself up to the neck. Why? Because there is some openings within your body, which is the openings the sweat comes out from. So it
Oh.
kind of contrasts electricity. That is why you have goosebumps whenever you have something that resonates with your consciousness. You have goosebumps.
Mm.
That is vibration. That is you getting electrocuted by the universal frequency. It's waves. So when that wave hits you and you're open to it, you're not open to it all the time. Why? Because the brain have to be in some certain level for us to tap into that
Hmm.
frequency. So when we tap into that frequency, we have goosebumps. It can be just a feeling that triggers it. Maybe you're watching a movie and you see something that triggers your emotions and you step into it, you get goosebumps. So those things are the receiver of these electrons. That is why we need to bury ourselves on Earth in order to get back that natural consciousness, because the Earth is alive. They live.
Mm.
Yes. So you have to. They can also take away negative energies when you bury yourself like that.
Very
So it's a
interesting.
way.
So
Yes. It's also a meditation
So that's
because
the
you get to.
grounding part, yeah. So just
Yes.
just like approximately, like how long, even yourself, would you recommend that someone spends with their feet, on intentionally with intention, on the ground, in the grass, or even on in sand? How long would you suggest that they do
It
that for? How
doesn't
many?
matter.
10 minutes, half an
Like
hour,
mm, whenever you want to go take a walk, why not remove the shoe and go on barefoot?
You see, in this country, you see me, as soon as I go to a park or a forest
Mm,
or my back garden or even my front porch, I will do it. But you're not going to see anyone, 98% in UK walking around like this. They'll be looking at you like you need to be in hospital now.
that is the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, because obviously. So it's interesting how, how naturally we still, without a shadow of a doubt, if you saw someone barefoot who, let's say someone who looked pleasant, and
Mm,
they were bare feet, they wouldn't think much. Oh, she's just a hippie or someone like that. Let's say you had
mm.
very casual clothes, not looking dressed up. They would see you as maybe you can't afford it. As opposed to someone who's like, no, I'm more conscious than you because I'm grounding. Because you have nice shoes, designer this, designer that, you think you're
Mm.
better than me, but actually, no.
No.
So you see, being in the Western world, there's so much misconception that someone would look upon that as you're not, maybe you can't afford it. Because where we live, that's what it would mean.
That is because the
You know?
society have made everybody think that wearing shoes is being civil, but
Yeah, and
it's
we
not because
and depending on the status of your shoes, people think it equals something, you know. So when I went my first trip I went to, you heard of Cape Verde next to Gambia, yeah,
Cape
and
Verde.
yeah, when I went there for my birthday, I think 2018 or 2019, one of those times. Let me tell you, imagine me, guys, feeling so inspired as a Western woman that I was even feeling jealous. I want to take my shoes off and follow these people. I want my shoes off. And I knew that I was in the right sense of, when I first arrived, I wasn't in the right. I was like, I was very underwhelmed. When I first went, I was like, you know, where's the fashion? Where's the shops? Because I love shopping, okay? Especially when I'm traveling. And then for the first day or two, because I'm thinking, like they say, the built up part in Nigeria, the built up part, I'm looking for the built up part in Cape Verde. It didn't exist.
Mm.
So my mind was still so caught up in the Western that I didn't appreciate anything for the first 2 days. Imagine that.
The materialism
I'm being honest. So
starts to kick in
I
place.
wasted 2 days. That's how I see it now. Yeah.
Mm.
But after 2 days, and I went into the heart of, you know, the African events, the African parties, the people, and I had, you know, and I met a really great tour guide who was African and took me everywhere. I actually cried to know I was getting back on the plane to come back to London. I was in tears. I didn't want to come back
Wow.
because it had nothing to do with anything but this vibe. I've not had it anywhere in my life, and I want this forever. This spirit. So it didn't matter what I had on or how cool I think I looked. The
Mm.
spirit cannot compare.
Yes.
If I could have
The
walked
spirit knows.
barefoot, I would have done it. But the
Yes.
ground was so hot. But they're used to it. They're walking normal and they're walking so
Yes.
slow. And they said, in this country, our main title we say is no stress. Why are you walking so fast? Where are you going? Take your time. Calm down. Yeah. And I'm like,
But this is
it was
something
amazing.
you guys over there need to start doing
I mean, I've got a lot of
because
places I want to go. Because I mean, Nigeria's on my list, but Gambia and Ghana
working
will be
on
the next African continents that I want to go to next. Ghana and
yes
Gambia.
working on barefoot can even make you live longer.
Yeah, it's yeah. There should be a national barefoot day, isn't it? Like they have all the other national days. There should be a national
Yes,
barefoot
yes,
day.
yes. They should be because it's important. Before, if you look at our ancestors, you will see that even before the time they brought footwears, we had something we wear. We made from scraps from leather and some of them
Mm-hmm.
from wood. So, which means our ancestors had the idea that there is something we can use to cover the feet, but not when the earth is friendly. So they cover it
Mm-hmm.
when the earth is not friendly, which means when it's too hot and it hurts the feet.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
have to wear something on the feet. But when the earth is friendly, they go on bare feet, no matter where they are going. Why? Because going on bare feet is important.
I
It's
did it
very,
a lot
very
as a child.
important.
I did it a lot as a child
Yes.
naturally, and my parents would always say, this girl, you can't be walking in the street barefoot. I would just go and run down the road. I was so connected. And then they kept saying, put slippers. No, naturally, this is London. You know, put
That
slippers,
is
put slippers,
children.
put slippers, put
That
slippers,
that
put
is
slippers.
children. That
And
is
yeah.
children because consciously they know that it's not good. So when you tell them wear it, they remove it.
Mm,
That is yes, it's the spirit. The spirit
hmm.
knows what is best for you.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that is why sometimes when you feel like going naked, go naked. Why? Because probably the spirit wants some air. Why? Because
If
the
I go
clothes you're
naked
wearing.
now, I'm going to get arrested.
No, I don't mean outside. I don't mean outside. It might be just on your backyard. No, not like that.
In my backyard, my brother, if you see my backyard,
Mm.
if I go naked in my backyard, the housing people is going to come. The police is still coming because there's windows facing me. My old house, I had a big brick wall. You can do that now. Even you can see over the fence. There's not enough privacy, but that is what we need
Oh,
more of, is to be within. We're not, my brother. We're not. Look, let me tell you. Especially, I don't know about different countries, but it's even in London. UK, there's a lot of body advocate. I know we're still talking about grounding, just want to touch on this. A lot of body advocate people. I have multiple body advocates on my page. But listen to this. If you're an advocate, remember this, it means that you're at this point you should be comfortable with yourself, to be an advocate, to be a
yes.
leader of something. I've
Mm.
asked multiple women to come on this live with me. Bring your tissues with you. I want you to come fully made up. And then I want you to take off everything off the live with me. They said, no, I can't. No way, I'm not ready to take. They refuse to come on the live. But your profile says you're a body advocate. So what I'm saying is, even in nudity, a lot of us are not one with our body. Even by yourself, even sometimes me, I can be even by myself and I'm still criticizing what I don't like without just embodying the oneness.
Mm.
You see?
Your body can sometimes your body refuses the clothes, but
It does.
sometimes we don't even notice it because
You're
sometimes
sleeping as well.
yes, when you wear these clothes, sometimes it starts to itch. It starts to get electrified by the body, so we feel the itching of that electricity. The body is telling
Yeah.
you need to remove it at this moment. It's not every time
Mm.
we need the clothes. Remember, there are openings on the skin, and those openings need what? They need the waves, they need the natural air. So when
Sunlight,
you close
everything
them,
natural.
yes,
Mm.
sunlight, everything natural. And when you close them all the time, it can also cause problem to that person.
Mm. It's so
Illness, yes, a lot
interesting.
of illness and all that.
You know, it makes sense what you're saying, because even again, you gave an example of children who walk bare feet. For those who just joined the live, we're talking about grounding at this point. Um,
Mm.
but then you see children, whether you're boys or girls, they could be 1 year, two, they take off all their clothes. Every minute they're taking off their clothes because it's natural, as you said, it's
Yes,
natural.
it's natural because it's itching them. Their
Mm-hmm.
body is electrifying because those clothes is made out of cotton, so it can be
Mm-hmm.
electrified. So when your body is electrocuting the clothes, it starts to itch you. You start
Mm-hmm.
itching. It starts itching. It's not scratching. It itch. So when it starts
Mm-hmm.
itching, you have to remove the clothes. So when you remove the clothes, you see the body settle. Sometimes if you're a person, if you look at your skin, some certain parts of the year, the skin have to remove, like the one of the snake. The human body does that too,
Shred.
naturally cleaning itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, okay,
Naturally.
so we kind of, you've given us some suggestions in terms of grounding, yeah. As
Mm.
I'm conscious of time, I'm happy to, in the next half an hour, I want to be able to cover at least two more subjects. But then, if you have the time, Adika, we can always
Yes, of
disconnect.
course, I do.
What we can do at 10 o'clock, we can disconnect the live and then come back on a part two. Why that is, it will have a very big file, and I won't be able to upload it on certain platforms. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
we can go on. We got another, like, I guess, 40 minutes, but then we can cover a few subjects. We can cut off and come back on a part two if you got the time. Yeah. So while you're
Okay,
talking
no
about
problem.
grounding, which a lot of us know about, which is that we just cover that, putting your feet in the earth. Some people plant their fingers in the soil to ground their spirit. You gave me a new one today, maybe most of us, which is using sand. Now let's go on to the shadow work part. You
No,
touched on that last week.
the grounding is not yet done.
I
We
know,
just
but okay, let's
we
go
just
back a bit then.
we just mentioned the sand part of it,
Okay, so get into it. Let's get into it then. Let's go
which
further
is
into
the
it.
grounding. So we go into the water aspect.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Let's hear it.
Grounding, grounding. You can use the river to ground. So when you're swimming, that is why swimming is also good for meditation.
Mm.
Yes. So when you're inside the water, you are also grounding yourself with that current because as the water flows, it generates current. So as that current
Mm.
hits your body receives them in order to help you ground. So the meaning of grounding is actually becoming one with the outer universe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So naturally, the four elements can help us remove congested toxic energy. So when we go out to nature, we go to the river, we are also grounding ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
we can also do camp water beside the river. So just listening to the flow of that river helps,
Mm.
even when you're not inside, because within 10 meters around the water, there is wavelength the river is generating within.
Mm.
So even when you're close, you are inside the wavelength.
That's a beautiful
So
thing.
that
That
is
sounds
why,
lovely.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is why for some people when when they go to the river after that experience and they are coming back, they come back light, relieved.
I think for some
If
people
they have,
also being near water, as you said, being not even just swimming, but being near water. But you know, I thought of you
yes,
yesterday, and knowing that I was going to speak to you today, I thought of you yesterday, and the reason why is because I like to have stillness and meditation whilst in the steam. I don't know what you call it in Nigeria, like the steam, the hot room. You know, you go to the place we've got the hot steam.
yes, yes,
And whilst I'm in the hot steam, I had I had the best elevation yesterday, and I find that really helps me. That I'm able to concentrate more when I'm in a hot steam room, like I'm going to do tomorrow morning.
yes. So
Mm.
that hot steam room, you're using the fire aspect of
Ah,
grounding.
okay. It really works for me. It really works for me.
Yes, yes, that is the same thing
Hmm.
you're using when you're using campfire to meditate. It's the
Okay.
same thing. So, but now your body is receiving the heat, you're generating it inside, then you're
Mhm.
releasing it through sweat.
And it's really because obviously some people don't like the steam or find it difficult. Especially I find it hard. Do they have much of
Mm.
those in Nigeria, like the sauna and steam rooms and stuff?
In even then in Africa we have it because we
Uh-huh.
used to build it with hot. They
Right. So
build
maybe you
it
have
with
the
hot.
sauna, the wood hut. Yeah.
Yes, they hot.
Hmm.
They use mud sand to mold
Uh-huh.
it. So when they mold it, you have to bend down to go inside it. So when you go in, you lock it. So it's built with charcoal. So they
And it's
put up
very
the
hot, so you're
charcoal. So
sweating.
yes,
Hmm.
yes, you're sweating. You can they can do that with roasting of corn and
Okay.
pear. Just those exercise inside the hut.
Mm. I don't
So
I
they
don't
don't
like
just.
the sauna. I like the steam. The sauna, it's like it's a lot to take, but it's very
Mm,
good for discipline with breath work and meditation. It's
mm.
very, very, very good.
Yes, it is
Mm.
good because most of those things is actually what needs to come back to this
Mm.
present society because we need it.
Yeah.
Naturally, you can ward off diseases through sweat.
Hmm.
But what they are not adding to that steam in the Western world is that we use herbs. So when we are using the charcoal, there are some
Mm.
certain herbs we put inside the charcoal. So
Oh,
when we are using the
nice.
normal cooked steam, we use the pot. So we get some herbs. So we get some herbs like this, and after cooking the herbs, we use clothes to cover up, then go naked. So you
Mhm.
sit above the pot, then cover yourself with thick clothes.
Oh, wow.
So yes, all the heat from the herbs goes inside you. So that is the version of what they are trying to do in the
Mm.
Western world.
In the Western, I mean, they put weeks. I mean, you're not allowed to nowadays, but
Mm.
I often used to bring, like, you can bring, whether it's eucalyptus, olivos oil, and they put it on
Mm.
where the main heat is, but it's not going to be as
Mm.
natural as what you're saying there, the real
Yes,
herbs,
but I'm telling you now because you can also try to apply them if you get the herbs. You can cook it on your own. Get thick clothes. It can help you heal. That is the
Hmm.
best way to release and heal. So those there are
Absolutely.
particular herbs that helps, you know.
Hmm.
So those herbs, you cook them, you cover yourself with a blanket, thick blanket. But you need
Hmm.
someone around who will help you, open the blanket when it's too hot. In fact, the kind of sweat that
That
will
sounds
be
amazing.
coming
Hmm.
out of you will be so thick and can stain white. If you want to try it, I will suggest go ahead, bait yourself very well. After baiting, get these herbs, cook them, try this. Use white clothes to clean the sweat. You will see the kind of stain. It will look like
Really?
when an
Okay.
iron is rusting. You know
Oh
that
my
kind of
goodness.
stain from
Yes, yes.
iron rust. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe you use white cloth to clean iron rust. That is how the white will look like.
Wow. So you're purifying, you're purifying. Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
somebody is saying you're sounding a bit echo.
Oh, so now you're hearing me echo, yeah? All right. So maybe this might be a good time to disconnect the live and go on to part two. Yeah?
Okay, no
I try to
problem.
keep my
Yeah.
lives looking as clean as possible because it goes on to other media platforms, YouTube being one of them. So this might be a good time. Let me just check. This is the perfect time for me to run to the ladies' room as well. Yeah, this TMI. But yeah. So it's now, let's call it 9:30. Can we come back in 10 whole minutes? Is that okay for you, Adika?
It's all right for me.
That gives me time to download this, save this, put another part two up, yeah, and then run to the little girl's room. So give us 10 minutes, everyone. We'll be back on a part two with so much more layers. See you then. Thank you, sis, for that, letting me know. All right. See you in a bit for part two.